Thank you for that introduction. I also do student showcases here, and I'm doing one this month on the 21st. So if you want to see the end result of all my hard work, or their hard work, May 21st, right here at the Bowery Poetry Club. I'm reading from my book, The Burlesque Handbook, which is a how-to. And I go step by step through the things that I think will help people who are interested in learning burlesque get the basics. So there's chapters on how to choose your music, how to work on your costumes, the classic moves of burlesque. There's some history. There's a little memoirish bit. There's a foreword by Margaret Cho.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really nice. But my favorite chapter is actually the chapter on pasties. Yes. So if you're not familiar with pasties, just a sec. This is a pasty, and we'll return to that. So this chapter is called Pasties. They're revolutionary. How do you do that? After almost every one of my performances, at least one woman and occasionally one man will approach me to ask if I can teach them how to twirl tassels. The truth is that tassel twirling is simple to do, even though it can be difficult to do with finesse and style. I can certainly teach you to twirl tassels. However, in order to understand and learn tassel twirling, you first have to have a set of pasties. As they say, teach a man to fish and you can feed him for a lifetime. That's why this chapter includes everything you need to know how to make tasseled pasties so you can twirl for a lifetime. Pasties stand alone. They're unique to burlesque. When you hear the phrase pasties and a G-string, you can see the lonely snare drummer, a damp cigarette dangling from the corner of his mouth, hammering out a bump and grind rhythm for the devastating dame on stage. There is no costume in dance or other theater disciplines that features these glamorous little nipple covers or so evokes the idea of rebellious women living loose in the not-too-distant past. What exactly is a pasty? Well, for the purpose of striptease, it's anything, and I do mean anything. A dancer adheres to his or her nipples. I have a picture here of Femme Appeal with, dressed as a wolf with wolf hair on her nipples. It may be used merely to cover the nipple, or to accentuate the breast, to continue the theme of a costume, or to provide a punchline to an act. For instance, when Starshine burlesque performer Little Brooklyn plays a magician who's lost her magic balls, only to discover them glued to her breasts. But my favorite characteristic of pasties is that they often feature tassels, which can be twirled in a variety of ways. Pasties seem to have come into being partly through statute-influenced evolution and partly by intelligent design. No one really knows. I offer a version of pasty history that may or may not be true. It has been said that in the 1920s, topless dancers in nightclubs were being arrested for appearing in public with bare breasts, and so were required to cover their nipples because you know, if you combine alcohol and bare breasts, people go absolutely insane. When the dancers made nipple covers that looked like nipples, vice officers shook their heads. In order to make the required distinction obvious to the authorities, dancers began making their pasties more elaborate, decorating them with beads and rhinestones as they did their G-strings, and created a new kind of jewelry that added an element of glittering spectacle to the appearance of otherwise starkly naked performers. In the 1950s, when performers would try wearing pink or flesh-colored pasties to look as if they were completely topless, some municipalities demanded that the pasties be visible from the back row of the audience. Tassels were added to make the presence of nipple covers incontrovertible, and dancers discovered that they could be made to twirl, adding this unprecedented move to the bump and grind repertoire. Tassel twirling did not exist before the 20th century, people. Not all burlesque dancers of the mid-20th century wore pasties. In some cities they went completely topless when they could get away with it, and sometimes they didn't. Dancers who chose not to take the risk of going entirely bare-breasted or who were limited by local regulations wore bras made of net fabric with strategically paced appliques or other decorations. Here's a picture of Dirty Martini's breasts in one of those tops. However, if you're fascinated by the idea of twirling tassels, it's obvious that pasties are what you want. During the 1960s and 70s, tasseled pasties came to represent a type of swinger sexuality that was considered outdated, square, and dull, and were rarely pictured except on blow-up dolls. The practice date in the movie Rock and Roll High School comes to mind. In the 1990s, tassel twirling regained popularity and fresh appeal as part of the neo-burlesque repertoire. Although not all neo-burlesque performers want to recreate authentic old-style burlesque routines, almost all of them have found that pasties can be the centerpiece of a creative act, as described in the section on the big reveal. Because so much of a love of burlesque is a love of costume, and pasties constitute such a playful and fabulous part in the burlesque costume, the making of pasties and the twirling of tassels required this, their own chapter. I always think of tassel twirling as a salute to Jenny Lee, the founder of the Burlesque Hall of Fame, who was famous for her twirling. I adore Lily St. Cyr and Gypsy Rose Lee, but they didn't found a burlesque museum as Jenny Lee did. It's Jenny who honored the history and gave us the love, and with every twirl I dream of Jenny and aim to share that love. So, teaching people to twirl tassels is a very large part of my life. So, if you hate it, blame me. I'm responsible for as much of it as I can squeeze into a day. And they were talking about the New Orleans bounce class. We're actually teaching people to twirl ass tassels. Are you guys familiar with New Orleans bounce? Yeah, okay, all right. So that causes tassels to twirl as well. So that's going to be crazy. We're going to have piles of girls laying on top of each other, bouncing their asses and twirling their tassels. I know, my life sucks. And that's my job, ladies and gentlemen. So who here has twirled tassels? Okay, who here has not twirled tassels? Mike, you've never twirled tassels? You're shitting me. No way. Come here, come here. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Mike. I had no idea you had never twirled tassels. I'm going to ask you to take off your shirt. Slowly. All right, so he failed that part of the striptease test. You're supposed to tease, but Mike always delivers. All right, so just stand there and think about your situation for a moment. You can dance a little even though there's no music. Everybody's da-da-da-da-da-da. National anthem. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't make me sing. Nice. So ladies and gentlemen, I have done just about every kind of sex work, and this is what I do for a living now. So I would like to say, basically all my dreams have come true. Thank you.